There's a court case in Winona, Minnesota that officials here in West St. Paul, Minnesota are watching very carefully. And if you're a property owner, you might want to be keeping track of it too. It's a trend that could be coming to a city and street near you. Zoning ordinances that impose a tough new restriction on homeowners. The case involves Ethan Dean, who's suing the city of Winona for prohibiting him from renting out his house and forcing him into foreclosure at a cost, he says, of $50,000 in equity.
It's not just me that's been hurt here. It's numerous people in the Winona City District, and enough's enough. Sometimes you just have to stand up and say, this is wrong.
It's called the 30% rule. No more than 30% of property owners on a block in Winona can get city permission to rent out their homes, except for those lucky enough to be grandfathered in when the ordinance took effect.
What the 30% rule does is it bans people from renting out their homes if a certain number of their neighbors already rent out their homes. So your property rights are controlled not by yourself or by whatever tenants you have, but by your neighbors.
The Minnesota chapter of the Institute for Justice, a civil liberties legal group, specializes in cases involving questions of government infringement on individual rights, particularly in the marketplace.
I just know it's wrong for somebody to tell me what I can and can't do with my house. I'm not growing drugs. I don't have rusted vehicles in the front yard. Neither does anybody else that's being affected by this. They're all upkept properties. We just want to do what's best for us and our home and our investments. We're not allowed to do that.
And this here, a copy of the evidence we've presented to the court, furtherance of our motion that the law be declared unconstitutional.
The suit seeks to overturn the rental ban as a violation of the homeowner's fundamental property rights under the Minnesota Constitution. For them, the case boils down to whether the government can arbitrarily restrict the property rights of some, but not others.
We've documented that our clients have suffered over $20,000 in lost value on their homes simply because they can't rent their homes out. They live in neighborhoods where renting out a home is more valuable than living in their home.
I would have sold it years ago. I've had numerous people tell me, realtors and people that own homes in the town, that they would have bought it the day I put it on the market so they could rent it out.
Winona authorities view the restrictions as a way to provide a better balance between the rental properties in a college community and the single-family residential character of many neighborhoods. Since they clamped down, at least 3 other Minnesota cities have followed suit, including right here in West St. Paul. This Twin Cities suburb enforces a 10% rule.
We think it's being watched across the country because restrictions on the right to rent and other property rights are popping up in states all over the country, but the epicenter for this battle is in Minnesota, where cities have been very aggressive in denying people the right to rent out their homes.
So the outcome of this case may well have national implications that could put this southeastern Minnesota city on the map of communities setting important legal precedents for property rights.